Hi, guys. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of jump in here. It's been kind of laying heavy on my heart. Like, I just want to talk about it. I want to get your guys' in thoughts, where we're thinking as a whole. Um, I am astonished and blown away by the amount of suicides already to date, or from January 1 to date in the United States. So from January 1 to yesterday, there were 40 mass shootings already that have occurred in the United States. Okay. To be considered a mass shooting, that's killing or hurting or injuring or killing anybody more than anyone in a group of more than four. That's considered mass shooting. Um, and I think the thing that gets and resonates with me is that a lot of times everybody, and I'll be honest, I kind of have a struggle with this, but I was reading about it, and believe it or not, they only have considered 23% of the mass shootings related to mental health problems. Okay. And that number is astonishing to me. But then in the next sentence, they say that, but it is because, life stressors. Well, that's kind of falls and plays into a role in that, mental health error, that mental health block. And it's just so hard for me, to comprehend how they don't figure life stressors and as a mental health issue. Um Now it's not, I've said it before, you don't have to be depressed to be stressed. You don't have to have anxiety to be stressed or have stressors. There's things that are happening, that go on every day, whether it be, working overtime, whether it be not having the funds or financial issues, whether it be a breakup at home, whether it be fighting at home, domestic violence. There's so many stressors, whether it's just being overwhelmed for the day. It doesn't necessarily have to be a long-term effect, but at what point do we say this stressor didn't correlate or interact with some mental health issues? Now, I cannot believe, like, I looked at the number of mass shootings last year. There were 670 or 47 last year. Okay. So that was for the year. And I am only talking in the United States. I'm not saying mass shootings don't happen anywhere else. I'm just simply basing this conversation off the United States research, probably because this is where I live, you know? Um, the crazy thing is that there's going to be, if we hit like we did last year, 647. I mean, guys, come on. We're looking at an average of 54 a month almost each month last year. That to me is crazy. It is crazy to me. And I cannot understand just why? Because there's no rhyme or reason. It's not just old people. It's not just young people. It's just not white people. It's not just black people. It's not just, race isn't an issue. Ethnicity is not an issue. It's overall, as a whole, we are seeing that this is happening everywhere, no matter what. There's nothing one sided about it. There's no one common denominator besides the fact that something happened, and that was the retaliation and actions of one person. Um, I I mean, we're going from East Coast to West Coast, North to South, and young and old, and there's so much. So to me, I think the dynamic of this and the concern with this is that, you know, one thing that I have a problem with is that the first time, the first thing that you hear in these conversations about mass shootings is they had mental health issues. Okay. Well, that's fine and all, but we really don't know until there's been an investigation, right? And then to read the history on, well, they're not, only 23% are actually considered mental health issues, meaning somebody with a diagnosable or had previously been diagnosed with a disorder, bipolar, schizophrenic, anything like that. Okay. Um, but these stressors that they say are the more prone reason, how does that not play into mental health? How could that not be discussed in mental health? You know? Now, with that being said, we don't have walk-in clinics for people. I know we don't here. Um, that are struggling for a day or a minute or a time. We have phone numbers that are resource for immediate help. But what are we offering at for from the mental health aspect to help these, people that are going through these stressors? Is there anything that could be done? What is the right answer to fixing this issue? How do we go about creating a better narrative of what's going on? How do we make changes to where our schools are safe? How do we um, go to get togethers and celebrations and not, have to ever worry about this? I mean, we're talking about, you know, people walking to malls. To be quite honest, I don't care to go to a freaking mall. I don't know what it is. I pay attention to everywhere I go now. You never know. You never know who is there with you. You never know what's going on with them. You never know their situation. And normally when we find out what it is, it's too late. Because a lot of these mass shootings occur and the shooter will kill themselves because they don't know, like, there's no other answer for them. They don't have an answer, so it's easier just to do that. um It's sad. It's a sad world we live in. It's a sad time and place when we have to worry about what's going on and have that thought process of this could happen. Now, I personally don't have a fear of dying, so I worry about more my kid going because I don't know where she's at with, her situation, but I worry about my kid going or my grandkid being affected. If I go, it's my time to go and I'm okay. Um, but the impact of a mass shooting on families and communities and cities and states and the overall, just impact it has is devastating. And it makes one sit back and wonder, like, what's going on, you know? Um, and it's kind of like, when I talked about suicide, they feel alone. They feel that nothing else can happen in that moment. There's no other cure. There's no other fix. So it's an impulsive, decision. And it's one that affects many. Um, I was talking to William about it, and it's concerning to me that we've already seen to date so many. What's more concerning to me is that we still have 6 days in this month. And if we hit 54, we're going to be, or more, we're going to be, looking at higher than record shootings from last year. And that is devastating. Um, we did have a decline last year in mass shootings because, believe it or not, in 2021, it was 690. But we know why. We had all the, there was so much going on in 2021. But like, I would like to get back to 2014. 2014, 273 mass shootings. That's kind of, like, can we get there or below? That would be great. But what do we need to do as a whole, as communities, as people that need to, you know, how can we help as people? What can we do? So, I don't have just one fix. And I don't really, I mean, this video is just hard because there's not one thing that I think can fix it. But I can tell you this, if we're saying stressors are a big issue, we need to look at stressors. We need to see what's going on. We need to know, how we can help. I've read like domestic violence situations. That's another huge impact on mass shootings. Um, we need to start looking at what's going on, okay, as a whole. Um, the last two that in the news, the in California, we're talking about 60, I think 61 and it's like 73. These guys were older. What happens to make them just be like, this is what I'm going to do? That's where the mental health aspect comes in. Whether they've been diagnosed or not, what was going on through their thought process at that time that made them decide it was okay? Was it anger? Was it rage? Was it, financial issues? Was it a job issue? Like, did something happen at work? Like, whatever it is, how can we as people help others in that situation? You know? Um, and how can we help decrease the amount of pain and anguish they're feeling in that moment? You know, how do we do that? We use our coping skills. We use those things that help us regulate our feelings. People don't understand, that if you're having a stressor, there's things that you can do to help you bring that down to where it's a little bit regulated. And once we can grab onto that, that's when we can say we can start reducing situations of this nature. Um it's where do you where do you go to start an opening for those doors? You talk about it. You talk about it to people. You talk it to people, on platforms, and you talk to people in person, and you talk to um the media. You get the right sources. Like, you hear so much come out of direct media, and that's where everybody gets the information. But if you deep dive into it, you're like, wow, you know? Um, the media tends to run towards, different laws that need to change, or this needs to change, or this needs to change. But what I really, really think is that we as people need to work on improving our lives, making our change, understanding that life's more than, or offers more than, and that's only an instant gratification, and later there will be feelings and pains and emotions that are going to be way greater once everything sinks in. Um, I kind of threw this out there to William. Maybe if we treated mass shooters, and when we did get them alive, maybe if we didn't let the media get a hold of them, maybe if we didn't have it out there on the front streams, maybe if we took them to appropriate locations and we said, okay, what happened? We would get the better research for this. We would find out what's going on, you know? Um, the way that cases are handled is just, it's out there too. Like, just how and why are we handling cases the way we do? And I'm not saying that don't use media because you don't want people to know. I just think that there needs to be better restrictions on what is out there, because that's when you get right wing, left wing fighting. And really, none of that matters. The fact that matters is that we still have people living in the United States that feel that they have no other outsource. They have no other way. There's no other fix. So all the BS surrounding it through a media standpoint is not important. I'm glad they're putting the information out there, but can we just say it happened and go on, and not speculate and bring opinions and thoughts and all the things in, because it solves nothing that way, right? So I just, like I said, as a person that works in the mental health field, I really deep dived into this, and the information that I'm finding is just wow. Um, I honestly would have thought that there would be more instances that involved mental health that they classified, but learning that they only classify if they had a previous diagnosis, led me to believe that there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with diagnoses that they don't even know about, or there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with, just limited resources for help to help reduce stressors. Um, it's just a very sad situation, mass shootings, school shootings. Um, Anytime that you have somebody that's going through something deep enough to where they feel that that is the fix, it becomes a concern. Okay, and I know that I'm on here and I don't have a true answer, but I do offer my support. I offer my words, I offer my thoughts on it, and um, I would love, to be able to say we're not getting as many mass shootings because people are not going through the same stressors. And it's just hard. Um, I want to know your insight on it. What are you seeing? What do you believe? What do you feel? What do you think? How do we come to decrease these numbers? How do we get to 2014 numbers when there's 200 or less? How do we do that? What can we do? And what can, our government do, if they can do anything? What can your city, or, the mental health association, what can we do as a whole to help reduce mass shootings? What can we do to reduce the people that feel that that's the only out there is? What can we do to offer support to people before it gets to that level? Um, And, it's one of those things that I always tell you, if you can be somebody for somebody, if you can be a support system for somebody, do it. Check on your friends, see what they're doing, see if they're okay, insert you there for them. And does it always work? No, no, it doesn't. But there's a greater chance of different outcomes if we allow ourselves to be that somebody for somebody else. So, I just want to get on here and talk about it because we're seeing it, like I said, 40 already this year. And that number, if we go based upon numbers last year, is only going to increase. And it's sad. And we need to work together and do our part, do what we can, research what we need to see what we can do to help reduce these situations, reduce these instances. Because again, that affects the community as a whole, right? So that's really all I have today. I really, really want your input on this. I want your thoughts on this. I want to know your feedback. And again, being in the mental health profession, it's of course something that I want to look into. It's something that it's very important to me because it affects all of us. So let me know what you guys think. Honestly, comment, let me know. Tell me your thoughts on it. You guys have a great night. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back with another video. Thanks, guys.